Hello, friends and viewers. This is Saima Dillon, your host for Heart to Heart with Saima, the podcast show for people searching for that courageous person within us who wants to be inspired by listening to stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I'm Saima Dillon. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here. Let's dive right in. Today's show is a bit different. I do have three guests here today. Alicia Fox. She's a spiritual life and women's health coach. Her mission is to radically demystify spiritual practices and guide you home to connection within your body. Alicia curated the Spir Academy for women, ready and willing to dive deep into self-intimacy and connection. She believes everyone is capable of healing when paired with a willingness to do the inner work. Connection over convenience is a way of life for Jason Lebowitz, and I think I've messed that up, but a cultural shift in digital relationships has broken down the connections to intimacy, vulnerability, and connection. Jason's curiosity with creating relationships through deeper connection and the desire to remove distraction to first deepen the relationship we have with ourselves has evolved into safe space for personal growth, transformation, and the need to restore connection to humanity. Chantel Soumis is the CEO and creative director of Stardust Creative. She is a business owner, mother, daughter, and wife, living with half a dozen autoimmune diseases, including multiple sclerosis and disability. Trained in digital marketing, Chantel brings unwavering optimism to clientele across the globe. She's built a following of 80,000 plus followers on LinkedIn as a brand thought leader and a voice for diversity and inclusion as an advocate for the differently abled community. Chantel has worked in collaboration with LinkedIn and Facebook, as well as many Fortune 500 companies, and has received international honors such as the Universal Women's Network Women of Inspiration for Diversity and Inclusion in 2019, and Bravo Magazine's Woman to Watch in 2020. So without further ado, let me bring my guests on here. Good evening, Jason, ladies. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Oh, good. Excited to be here.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So you guys have, I think we all do. We have something in common. I think we all connect on a humanitarian level, on a level of kindness. There's something out there, I think, which is what our energy does. Our energy attracts like-minded people, connects us with like-minded people. And I think Jason, Chantel, Alicia, you guys are all out there. You have created this organization called XXO, where you're about to create something which is different, which is something you're wanting to put out there into the world to help people connect with themselves and transform themselves. So I think we can start with Lecia. Let's give you the platform and let you tell us a bit about yourself, and please go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you. I am a women's spirituality and health coach. I'm super honored to be here with you, Saima, and just have such deep respect for the work that you are doing in this world and allowing us to come onto your platform. My work is within connection, as I imagine all of ours is on some level, right? We're working to connect to ourselves. We're all in that journey, and that is what inspired me to move through into coaching. I started out as a personal stylist and then knew there was something deeper, so I became a personal trainer. And as I evolved, so did my business. And now I'm doing spiritual coaching, and I'm helping women reconnect to their bodies and reconnect to that desire within themselves to ask for more, and to show up, and showing that spirituality doesn't have to be so woo-woo and out there. It can be very beautiful, daily grounded practices. So that's a little bit of where I am coming from.
Chantel, what about you?
Again, I mean, it comes right back around to connection. So my story, again, from the bio that you read, I have, a lot of autoimmune diseases, which is very typical in the autoimmune community. You usually have more than one, unfortunately. And what I was able to do was I was able to take my core principles of marketing and study and everything that I've done since I was a child and bring that to personal branding. Because now that I had multiple sclerosis, I was encountered with permanent blindness from a severe optic neuritis episode, as well as some mobility issues and other neurological functions like seizures and these things that you wouldn't usually expect to have suddenly on your life. So what I was able to do was now I had to apply for jobs with checking that disability box, and that wasn't usually something I was used to. And nobody called me back. Nobody. I mean, I was probably applying to, way over 100 jobs. And I realized I needed to think outside of the box here, because I was not going to just give up and apply for Social Security in my 20s. I think I was 25 when all this happened. And I'm thinking, wait, what? I still have like 75 years left. So I was thinking about how I could do this. And it really came down to personal branding. And I didn't even know what that was at the time. So I was able to take my story and take the perceived limitations or the dust that's on the blinds, and swipe them off and get to the good stuff. And I was able to use my story in a way that connects deeply with others. And by building those strong relationships, I found the career of my dreams. I launched my own business, and now I'm helping other people do it too. So that's and how I found Jason and Lecia as well, as we're just all in this to be our, 110% potential. We're here to serve others as servant leaders as well. So that's what drew me to these two other amazing people on the call. Thank you so much again for having me and letting me share my story. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Chantel, and we'll come back and we'll talk a bit more. But before we do that, we'll bring Jason. And Jason, you radiate such a positive smile, and you have such exuberance around you. Tell us about you.
Well, it's interesting how we're all here is because of connection, and we talk about that, and you talked about energy, and first hearing, Chantel and Lecia and their story and their transformation, it excites me so much of what they've gone through and how we've connected is through, the root of it all, connection. And so for me, my journey has been, we've all had our lifelong journey, but for me, for the past probably 5-6 years of a massive transformation through the relationship with others, but really is the relationship with myself, and really struggling to find that deep connection with myself. And so I've had a real fascination with connection at all levels. And kind of the energy behind it is when we don't have that connection with ourselves, we vibrate at a much lower frequency. And so if we were a couple of years ago, a year ago, 3-5 years ago, I wouldn't know Chantel or Lecia or you, Saima. So as I've gone through my journey and gotten deeper to learn who I was, that's how I was able to be surrounded by amazing humans like everybody on here.
So, Jason, you said you have gone through this journey in the past 5 years. I think most people do spend most of their lives just doing soul searching, right? Because they are trying to find their authentic self. And somewhere along the journey of life, most people do lose. They become a product of their surroundings, about their upbringing. People who are around people who are around us. We become a combination, a byproduct of all those factors. And then we reach a point in life where reality starts hitting us, and we feel that there is a disconnect between who we are as an individual and what we are actually doing in our life. And then the struggle begins for us to find ourselves. How did you make that transition?
What you just described is really, so many people go through, is we start off as ourselves, and as we go through life and the beliefs and reality and taking on other people's living their lives, it's almost like a plaque that keeps building up. And so we actually become further away from ourselves, right? And so this is lifelong journey of, as things build up, you lose connection with yourself. And at some point, making the incision, doing the inner work to cut through, to find the core of yourself again. So I believe it comes through life experience. And once you're able to make that connection back with yourself, you're able to kind of align with your purpose. And from there, maintain that relationship with yourself so you don't lose it again. Like I would lose that relationship with myself as I went into other relationships. I'm in a place now where I'll always continue that deep relationship with myself, which in turn I have much healthier relationships with other people as well.
And I think you guys are all at that place in life where I think it's just so powerful to be unapologetically you. It takes a lot of courage to get there. But I think once you get there, the reason you don't lose yourself is because it's such a powerful connect. Right? The ability to just be yourself and to courageously just say, you know what, this is who I am, take it or leave it.
In a way, I don't hear anything anymore.
Yeah.
I block it out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I kind of stopped almost believing in reality and all the beliefs and just live my life and not somebody else's. And when you're able to do that, it's such a liberating experience.
It is. Chantel, you have you were around 25, where your life, the path of your life, your journey, it just changed, right? You said it is just something which developed suddenly, and all of a sudden your life just changed. How was
Yes.
that?
Yep. It was terrifying. I mean, I'm no stranger to adversity. I grew up with a slew of events that were completely uncontrollable, but my reaction was controllable. And that's something that I had to learn early on as a very young girl. So when I had this beautiful baby boy unexpectedly into this world, a miracle of motherhood, my body started to shut down because I was stressed out beyond control. I had a job that was so demanding of me that I left the office every night in tears, and I was always the first person in, the last person to leave of this 300-person organization, and felt zero recognition. And that stress literally devoured my body. And I was not able to see, like little things at a time. And you know how you doubt yourself all the time in life? Like everything you go through, you always have that little thing, that little like subconscious demon on your shoulder that's like, you know what, maybe this is wrong. Well, I didn't listen to any of those signs, and just like my vision getting blurry. Oh, it's probably a headache. Oh, this is a bad headache. It's lasted a week. Oh, I can't see faces anymore. Something's probably wrong. But a big obstacle to that and seeking care was also our messed up healthcare system, where I didn't have health insurance. So I was one of those individuals where I really had to just kind of wait until the next health insurance kicked in. The new open enrollment was just coming. I could have waited a few more weeks. But it was very unpredictable. And I did reach rock bottom. It wasn't always sunshine and roses. I'm a very positive person today, but I am not the person I was 5 years ago. I am definitely not that girl. I wouldn't even recognize her today. And she would probably be irritated by my positivity that I have today with life. But it really, just like Jason said, it's really that event and that choice that you make to transform, to turn from caterpillar into a butterfly and embrace the beauty of it. It's a challenge. And it comes with a lot of hard work.
And I think the only person who holds the key to that transformation is yourself.
True. Yes.
So, Lecia, what is your why for doing what you're doing?
It's so interesting as I'm listening to Chantel's story. I tend to skip over this part. Like I'll share it every now and again. And the reason why, or really the catalyst, there's like this breakdown to breakthrough I notice. And I don't know if it's like a part of human nature that we wait until the suffering is just too great to finally be like, all right, I'll go get my eyes checked out, or like whatever it is. I was in the service industry when I was 26, and I was acting in Hollywood and living a very lively nightlife. And I had a nervous, mental, physical breakdown. It was the physical body first, having always been relatively fit. When I started to have thyroid issues, my hair falling out and breaking out with like cystic acne, and going to doctors and being told things like, well, you just need to get on this medication and go speak to a therapist. And I had, kind of like Chantel said, I had that little like nudging feeling of like, there has to be a different answer. And that sent me on this like spiritual trajectory of, like you said, Saima, my like soul searching journey of figuring out, why am I so reactive? And that's kind of why I say there has to be a willingness. So I was willing to look at the awarenesses that were starting to come up. Well, why have I walked away from 2 relationships and 1 engagement? What's going on here? Like, I'm the common denominator in all of this. So it's like, once we're willing to take radical ownership and responsibility for what we can control in our lives, like Chantel said, that's when we're really ready to do the work. So that's kind of what led me down this path. I often feel like we end up teaching what we needed. When 7 years ago, it wasn't really on Instagram. There wasn't like this big movement that there is today speaking about candida and leaky gut. At the time, it was just like blanket statements of like IBS and depression. So yeah, that's really my trajectory in this path. And now I just desire to continue helping other women and men, and however you identify, to just come home to yourself and fully express and live your most abundant life. I think that's our divine birthright.
What was that that turning point, Alicia, where you felt that, you know what, this just cannot continue anymore? And I like Jason said, that you can. I think maybe Chantel said that you have the control to your reactions. You can't control the circumstances, but you can control how you react to something. And I think that right there is such a powerful statement. If we really hardcore just realize and drill that within us, that our reactions are within our control, and they change our, they can change the course of our life. That right there becomes, it literally, that's what it does, right? It changes the course of your life.
100%. And for everyone, it's different. And I've worked with so many women and some men now to kind of pinpoint some moments that were suffering to surrender. It's like the hero's journey. Mine is actually so superficial. It was when I was bloating so much and so often that I couldn't really eat. It didn't matter if I had greens all day or tried the keto diet. I guinea pigged myself on everything, and I couldn't fit into my jeans. And so it was, I don't know if that's just how Spirit was like, if we get her on the superficial at this time of life, she'll make a change. And that was kind of my moment when like I just couldn't button anything, and it was actually severe abdominal pain, but it was more of the superficial when I was 26 that I was like, okay, my serving job required a headshot. So I was like, I need to figure out my life. Like, what am I doing here? So that was sort of like the hair falling out and all of that was the beginning, but it was the genes.
What about you, Jason? What is your why? What was that switch where you felt that, okay, you know what, I cannot continue molding and living a life which other people expect of me, and instead I need to be who I am and let other people accept me for who I am, and I live my best life.
I've always lived against the grain as how I chose, but really what happened was I was in a few very unhealthy relationships. And so what happens is the cycles would repeat. I would be in a very unhealthy relationship. And when I say unhealthy, they were abusive. They were not healthy at all. But it really had nothing to do with my partners. It would have kept repeating and repeating again had I, when one ended, if I was in another one, I would attract the same type of a partner again. So really what happened is at the end, I needed to really, it's as Lecia said, it's accountability. It's accepting that it has nothing to do with anybody else. And that's when the moment is you need to make the incision and do the inner work on yourself. And for so many, that is the most painful time, because that means spending time with yourself, getting to know yourself, working on yourself. And that's a very quiet moment where all you are is left with yourself. And it's a very painful moment. And it doesn't last a moment as in like a minute, a day, or a month. It's a long time to really to do that inner work. And so that is the period of time where so many struggle with. It's so painful that they will go right to the next distraction to avoid really building that connection and relationship with themselves. So I chose to fight that pain and keep working through it. And that's what really led to the greatest transformation of my life. And I know many others who have gone through the same thing through that.
Why do people have such a difficult time forgiving themselves? Lecia?
Oh man, this is a loaded and layered one. Such a good question though. When it comes to forgiveness, in my experience and through coaching, there is so much. Well, I'll reel it in. There are two ways, like Jason said, we are either seeking pleasure or we're avoiding pain. So when we have to shift our behavior, there's going to be some discomfort, some pain within that. And when it comes to forgiveness of self, we have to also look at the situations where we've been maybe playing a victim. And I don't say that lightly. There are definitely rough situations, but where can we take back ownership and control? And for forgiveness of self, that is, I think it's just one of the biggest hurdles initially, to remember that we are more than enough, and everything we've done, we did the best we could with what we knew at the time, and that we're allowed to transform past that. So that's kind of part of that like pain pleasure cycle, is it's more comfortable sometimes to just stay in the pain. So in the unforgiveness, we're not really releasing ourselves from that, because we know the pain. We know that even if it's uncomfortable, that's what we are comfortable with, if that makes sense.
Chantel, what's your feedback on that? What do you think?
I can only speak from my perspective because I don't have the treat of working with people through their conflicts. But what I do know is that for me, it was a lack of self-worth. I didn't have any. I had, I spoke about a few childhood, obstacles, and a lot of that was being broken down to be less than my whole life. So that I sought out other people to give me my worth. And I didn't realize until I had everything collapse, just completely fall down on me, that I was worth it. And it was a fight. And I had my one thing, my one anchor. And I think everybody needs to do this. This is a great exercise for everybody, is to find their anchor. And what's that one thing that makes them smile when they think about it? That one thing that makes them just light up like a Christmas tree. That one thing for me was my son. And being a new mother, I had especially being told I could never have children, I was like, there's this human that kind of needs me to survive, I'm feeding this tiny thing. It's kind of a big deal. And I finally had that like anchor in providing and sustaining for myself. And I never had that before. So understanding how to fill my own cup, fill my own life, and really drive that forward was completely unnatural to me. And it was weird and it was hard. And I never would have thought of self-care as something that everybody should do. I thought it was just, this weird self-care, something that it's an excuse to go to the spa, something along those lines. And now that I realize it's a big deal, especially in the chronic illness community, now that I have half a dozen autoimmune conditions, that now that I put self-care first, guilt on the side, like not even worrying about what people think of me, my health is stable for the first time in 6 years. And it's the most beautiful thing I could have ever hoped for. I haven't had a seizure, knock on wood, in ages, and I had clean scans and all of this. And that's because I really, really firmly do believe in, one, the community that I surround myself with, like a security blanket, the people that believe in me more than I would have ever believed in myself. Though, like my parents, I'm one of those lucky kids, that come from a really great family. That is what makes it or breaks it at the end of the day. And having these relationships, and again, back to connection and these amazing people that we have in our lives that maybe they don't even realize that they're so special to us. And we need to go out and do that. It's the month of gratitude, Thanksgiving, go out, write a letter, write a card, let people know how much they mean to you, because chances are they don't, and their self-worth isn't where it should be. So that's my perspective in on it. Thank you for asking. I hope it adds a little color to the picture. But
small acts of kindness, right? I always feel that it's not the big things, and even literally when I was, with my podcast, I put it out there on my women empowerment group, as well as my Facebook business page, on my Facebook page. And I was like, okay, I have all these names for my show, for my podcast that I'm launching. What should I do? I want Unapologetically You, because that's who I am. I'm very unapologetically me. But the name was taken, and I had some other, Grit and Grace, again, that was taken. So some of the names were, and then some people said, what about literally the name that you've been using, Heart to Heart with Saima, because that's what your live stream is based off, and that's the name of your live stream. And I was like, that's I think that's what it needs to be, because that's what my show is about. It is about giving people a platform to be unapologetically them, to believe in them, and to believe in their own self-worth, and to always learn to put them first. Because I believe, I'm a firm believer that, and a lot of people don't understand this, but when you take care of yourself, only then are you in a position, you are in a place of strength to be able to take care of someone else, or to be able to give that out, because what you have within is what you're going to give out. So if you have strength within, then that's what you're going to give out to the world.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. And it's not something that you can easily tell yourself, right? It's hard to take that dose of medicine unless you experience some form of adversity from here to here,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how, that's what, with my podcast, with my show, that's what I hope to do is, not big things, just small things, even if it's something as small as just, bringing a smile to someone's face, or just, just any small random act of kindness. You're driving on the street, on the freeway, let someone else pass. It's okay. So so you guys have all, Jason, Lecia, Chantel, you guys have all, your energy is similar. You have, you believe in kindness, you believe in giving back, and now you guys are getting ready to launch this project, which is called XXO. So how about starting with you, Jason? Although I know you said that we let Alicia and Chantel talk more about it, but you know what? How about we believe in empowerment of everyone. So you tell us what XXO is all about.
Sure. XXO is love, but it's about connection. And to me, connection is the root of it all. Connection begins within and continues outward. And so while all other platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, on and on, they're all built for connection to others. XXO Connect will be a platform, an app built for connection to self and then others. So what XXO Connect is, it'll be a global safe space, personal growth, transformational, and wellness platform. It's really built to restore connection to humanity, accelerate human connection, and eliminate that fear of vulnerability and intimacy. And so what we're doing is, just like we have now today, the four of us are sharing in this safe space without distraction in some deep conversations of connection, where I'm not afraid of any of you judging me in this space. I don't have any shame of talking about anything today with the four of you. So we're creating a safe space for others, like a training ground for connection. To first off, we have educational, transformational videos, so people can watch videos on all sorts of subjects like self-love, self-worth, forgiveness, shame, body image, trauma, disability, so many different subjects. And then they can share in conversations with random XXO community members inside our platform, where they'll be able to feel safe to share in these types of conversations, to really break that fear of vulnerability and intimacy without the fear of being judged in that safe space. And so really, while they're getting to know somebody else, they're really getting to know themselves as well. And our platform will also include live events. So these types of master classes on one specific subject. And then we're going to take all of this great training and actually create a kids network. So kids consume content very differently, but the subjects are just as important as these adult subjects of self-love, self-worth. So we're going to create a cartoon network talking about these same types of subjects. And then when I say safe space, we're not only creating this safe space internally for our members, but we're actually creating a safe space for personal information. So we know today, social media abuse, loneliness, they're all on the rise. Self-worth is on the fall. But also we're in a place where their personal information is also just for everybody else. So even right down to the login of XXO Connect, there's not an alternative Facebook or Google or any other login. It's just within the XXO Connect platform. So we're truly creating a safe space in all ways about that. We will control cyberbullying because it's not really a social media platform in terms of for people to post and create profiles like they do on all these other places. It's really a place for them to get to know themselves. So it's a very unique platform that we're creating.
Lecia, I will give you that same, platform, like the same space. You tell us what XXO means to you and why you felt that this is something worth doing, and it's going to have an impact on a global impact and will touch lives.
Thank you. Jason did such an excellent job of going over all the different aspects of it. And I think the most important reason why I decided to align in partnership and be one of the co-founders is when I was younger, I felt so misunderstood in my enthusiasm and desire to connect. And sometimes that can be shut down in kids. I don't know. Everyone raise your hands if you got the report card that said, very gregarious, social butterfly, won't keep her hands to herself. And like, so I always got like shoved into a different corner. And, you know, over time, it's like almost a badge of honor to just be like tough and cool. And I think that's a protection mechanism that we create. And what I love about XXO Connect and having this space is, alone as like one coach, I felt a little limited on like one-on-one coaching, how many people that I could reach with this message and connect with, and allow them the safe space to explore within themselves what it is that they're desiring to connect to, whether that be spirituality or different practices, whatever it might be. Just knowing that I believe in like the ripple effect. So just one person being healed or healing themselves is going to impact a family, is going to impact a community, is going to impact the world. So I have a My Intent bracelet. Chris Pan is the creator of the My Intent bracelets. I don't have it on right now, but it just says one on it. So I'm reminded that like it just takes one. And I think that's what really drives me is I believe we awaken to this within ourselves. So that way, those who are courageous enough to say, I'll go through that fire myself, and then I'll turn around and light the way for others to come through. So,
and that's so powerful. And when I, started my women empowerment group like 4.5 years ago, I used to just write on there that all I hope to do is just literally just change one life, touch one life, and that's it. You know, no more expectations. Just put it out there and do the best that you can. And what was, Alicia, what was the turning point in your life where you felt that, you know what, this is what it's going to take, or this is where I need to head?
It was January 2017, after I had worked with a shaman. I sometimes feel very cliche saying things like this, so I get a little bit uncomfortable just to be like so transparent. I'm like, but I worked with a shaman. But he was this incredible leader at a retreat that I had gone to, which on my way in 2016, it was my first ever meditation retreat with Michael Beckwith. If anyone listening is from Los Angeles, he has the Agape Center, and one of my girlfriends had invited me. And on my way there, I sort of came to the realization that I had a bit of a drinking problem when it came to handling my emotions and anxieties, because I was looking at every single saloon on the way out to Joshua Tree and thinking about drinking. And I kept thinking, why do I feel like I need this? Just to feel comfortable in the silence and with myself. So after a very transformative weekend, meditation was incredibly healing for me. I sat with one of the leaders from the retreat, and you know, he did like his shaman stuff. We had a conversation. It was cool. And then I left like Marina Del Rey, just sort of like, okay, I don't know if anything happened. And I was sitting there, and at the time I was watching The Secret, and it was like my first introduction to like law of attraction or any of this. And I felt something in my body shift, because I believe that the body's kind of the densest of energies. But I felt something bubbling up. And I remember I got up and I was home alone, and it was just me and my cat, and I was journaling, and I started to feel this like bubbling in my throat that was like I was going to start hysterically laughing, but instead I started sobbing. And it took maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and I fell to my knees, and I had this moment where I just blurted out. It wasn't like a thinking, it wasn't this premeditated experience. I just said, I am deserving of all the love I continue to give to other people. And I think these compounded back-to-back experiences of just me in the silence with myself and with God or spirit, universe, God of your understanding, in that time, connecting to that within myself was the moment that I was just like, oh my gosh, I've for so long tried to make a safe home in other people, like Chantel had been saying. And so this was the moment where I realized I am probably not alone. And from there on out, it's like I would suffer every time I tried to avoid this path.
Because you know what, people are searching for themselves in other people, in other relationships, whether they are friends or they are life partners. But the reality of life is that it's all within us, and what we seek in others, we will actually find that it's right there within ourselves. So Chantel, what about you? I know your why was your son or is your son, and that was your driving force. And when did you come to that realization? How hard was that realization where you were like, oh my God, whatever life has sent my way, and however hard this journey is, but I have to rise above it?
Oh, what a question. Like, I want to cry. I want to pour my heart out to you, heart to heart. I was really, again, I mean, throughout my whole life, I never thought that I deserved diddly squat. And it drove a lot of mental health issues my way. I mean, from being depressed as a little girl, and I'm a bubbly person, so nobody would ever expect me to be sad ever. But it was that really trying time, and digging within, leaning within, and connecting with yourself first is really the key to it all. I have an amazing, amazing husband who you don't appreciate these things unless you really do that kind of work in the back end. And is it easy? No. Is any relationship easy? Is any relationship with yourself easy? Your parents? Anybody? No. It takes some challenge, especially when you're on completely opposite areas of the political, opinions. But my husband is the most supportive person I could have ever, ever, ever imagined. And, it's people are like that. People would give the shirt off their backs to somebody who's freezing. And it really takes opening up in ourselves to figure out that we are those people. And we are decent human beings, all of us. We all deserve a chance. But it's really opening up and connecting with yourself and then to others that really makes you understand the power that you have inside and that your whole community has as well. So I don't know if that answered your question, Saima. I hope it did. I wanted to cry.
Oh, that's okay. And that's what it's all about. I mean, these are heart-to-heart connections. And I feel that, Chantel, life challenges all of us in different ways. Yours is different, mine is different, and I'm sure Jason and Lecia, everyone, we all have our own stories to tell, but it takes so much courage to rise above, to find that courageous person within you, to tell them that, hey, you know what, you gotta get up and you gotta keep going, and you got to change your own trajectory and your journey of life. And once you change that, and once you embrace that reality, I think just life starts changing around you. It's so easy, right?
Yes, just what Lecia said, that law of attraction, the secret. I mean, it really is acting on it, not just the law of attraction, but the action part of it that really does drive those results. It does attract all of that into your world. If you're putting out nothing but negativity, it's just going to attract negativity. But I want to flip the table, Saima. How are you so courageous? How are you able to come on in, like fire up, let's do this?
I think I'm very fortunate, like you, Chantel. I'm very fortunate to have very strong parents, and I think I'm originally from Pakistan. I finished my high school, and I asked my dad in Pakistan that, hey, Dad, can I? My brother had finished his master's here at UT Arlington, and I was like, okay, Dad, my brother's finished. I was like, okay, I was a terrible, awful student, and I asked my dad, can I go? And I'm the only daughter. I was much younger than my brothers, and my dad was first question. My dad's, in fact, only question was, "But you don't even enjoy studying." I was like, you know what? It sounds like an adventure, and I think I'm like ready for an adventure. So I want to go to the U.S. to study. And my dad, I had like a 5-year visa, and so what I'm basically saying is, I think it's my parents, because whenever I have put something in front of my parents, my parents have not questioned me. They have always said, okay, you want to jump? Like, okay. And then the next question is like, how high? It's not questioning that, have you gone crazy? Have you lost your mind? I mean, like, and I think it just takes for us to be courageous, even for our children. Only when you have children, you realize that, boy, being a parent is not what you thought it was going to be. It's very challenging and very difficult, and life challenges you every step of the way. You're tested in life where it hurts you the most, and but somehow or the other, you have to figure out, make mistakes. And I think that's okay. I mean, I have made countless mistakes in life. Even where I'm standing, where I am, I look back and I think that, oh my God, I have made just all these mistakes in life. But you know what? It was not intentional. Perhaps some of it might have been, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's the journey of life. And that's how you evolve and you grow and you change. And I think change brings with it a lot of healing. And I think that's what the journey of life is all about. It's about, making the best possible decisions at any given point, and just trying to learn from them, and just accepting yourself for who you are, being this imperfect person who's made a lot of mistakes and who will continue to make a lot of mistakes. But that's what it is. You try to make amends, and you just you get up and you keep going. That's what it is.
Keep on that adventure. Yeah, that adventure spirit, I think, is so underappreciated. But those who are hungry for adventure are those that are hungry for growth too. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. So as we get into literally the last 10 minutes of our show, I mean, when you're having fun, time always passes by. Jason, I'm going to again start with you, and I'm going to give you the screen, and you tell us, it's your opportunity to make that sales pitch, whatever pitch that you want to make. What would you like? How can people help you? What can my audience do for you to help you with this project that you have undertaken? Because I think it's a huge project that you are undertaking, to put something out there which is going to help us as human beings heal, connect with ourselves, find ourselves. That is huge, because so far what social media I look at the glass being half full. So when I see that a lot of people have issues with social media, but I feel that there's a lot of good that we can take from social media as well, including powerful connections, in meaningful connections. I think at the end of the day, you take from life whatever you choose to take from life, right? So if you choose to take from social media the good, the positive aspects of it, then that's a mindful decision. That's a choice that we are making. Yes, it's life is all about the good, bad, ugly, and the beautiful, and then right, whatever you choose to take from it. And social media, you're about to do something which is very powerful when it takes off. What you're about to do for youth is, I think right now, the very I think this generation which literally went out there and voted, this generation which is very strong. They're very strong minded. They know good and bad, but unfortunately they are enclosed within households. But this generation is also the generation that we saw out there for Black Lives Matter, where they are like, they've become this force where they don't want to listen to um, anything other than logic, and they follow logic. But they are enclosed. They are, especially with COVID, they are right now sitting inside their homes and the four boundaries of their walls. And hopefully what you're about to do and what you're about to give to the youth provides them with a tool for them to stay strong, for them to stay on track, for them to find their true selves. So it's your moment. Jason, tell us what would you like for people who are listening and who will be listening, what can they do to help you out?
What you described is interesting, is like that on either side is you're talking about mindful decisions and mindless distractions. So if you think about that, so what we're doing is there's nothing wrong with social media in terms of once you're able to control what you do with it. What we're doing is giving people a platform to share and time with themselves, essentially, to work to develop themselves as a personal growth platform. So there's nothing wrong with being on social media, but at the same time, many people are using it as a distraction. They're losing the connection with themselves. It becomes this like artificial, temporary happiness filling a void externally. We're providing a place where you can really get to know yourself without the distraction. Once you're fulfilled internally, which I think we've all talked about our journeys of getting there, the journey of self-worth, then you are in control. And so I first want to say that this is a great time where not only of the journey of we've all gone through individually, but the journey of Chantel and Lecia and I to go through. We're going through this journey together now, which is unbelievable. And combined with the journey of everybody that's with us. And I'm looking at some of the comments, Hajar, Joel, they're all on the journey with us. Our community is building out this platform with us. We chose to build out this platform differently than typically how people would build a platform. We are not looking to build this platform and then sell it, and we're not looking to go public with this platform, and we're also looking to keep all the information safe. So that really eliminates typical investors and VC venture capitalists. So we wanted to build this out with our community. And what that means is we chose Kickstarter as a way to build this. And Kickstarter is a crowdfunding website and campaign. It's a platform where the community will back you if they believe in what you're doing, and they actually become part of this. So our XXO community and everybody who's joining along, they mean the world to us because they're building this out with us. And so on top of that, what we're going to do is this weekend, we're going to do something that's never been done. LinkedIn is a platform of 760 million users. A telethon has never been done before. And to me, when I grew up, I remember telethon is the community, the world, the country, whoever is watching this TV show for 24 hours on Labor Day weekend for a great cause, and they're supporting it and they're funding the project. We're going to create the first ever telethon. We're going to do it a little differently, but we're going to do a telethon. We're going to go live on LinkedIn for 24 hours this Saturday. And we're going to call it Connectathon. And we're bringing in, we already have 30 of amazing LinkedIn personalities who are going to join us throughout the day in support of us and this project. And we're going to ask our community to help us support us with the Kickstarter campaign this weekend. So we're going to ask everybody to join along in something. We're going to create history. This has never been done. And we're going to have essentially the biggest global event on LinkedIn for 24 hours and to be able to have this experience with the LinkedIn community.
Girls, would you like to share something before we conclude? Lecia?
I mean, what hasn't Jason said, right? Like, Alicia, he basically said it all out there perfectly. It really is a really cool thing. I feel bad talking. I don't know. Maybe this is something I need to work through with you, Alicia. But I feel bad talking about my own project. This project is so amazing. And the fact that we're not going through venture capitalists or investors of any kind speaks to our hearts and soul's need and desire to serve people and have people serve themselves. So we're super excited. I cannot wait for Saturday. It's going to be a ball, hanging out with our favorite LinkedIn personalities and just chatting. I'll have the champagne ready. So we hope everybody can join us.
Oh, awesome. Jason, Chantel, Alicia, I wish you guys all the best. You have the right intentions and you're wanting to go out there and leave your impact on the world and, leave a legacy for yourself in this world. So I do wish you all the best. Thank you guys for being on my show. I do appreciate and I'm honored to have you here, and I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you so much, Saima. This has been great. Thank you, everybody joining along.
You're welcome. So on that note, I am going to just remove my guest from the stream so I can end the show. Once again, folks, thank you so much for carving out the time to hear what was shared on today's podcast. If this inspired you to take the next step in your life, then I want to invite you to join my email list by emailing vip@saimadillon.com. And of course, if you know this podcast episode will help someone else, then help me change lives. Take 30 seconds to simply share the link to the podcast in a text or a post, or post it on social media, and I'll be so grateful. Until next time, this is Saima Dillon, and